Hi guys, and welcome to a battle between myself, leading the mighty forces of Chaos, against Kabuto, or Kabato, not quite sure how to say the name, but I'm going to say Kabato, and the lethal legions of the Tomb King. So let's get underway and see if my opponent has brought the bane of my Totoro existence, you Shopti Great Bows. So I'm actually going to stop this battle straight away, as you can see, it's going to get underway with some early skirmishing very quickly, and I want to go through the armies. So, for a front line, I have gone super cheap and cheerful with Chaos Marauders. To be honest, you don't need too much against Tomb Kings in the front line. You're probably going to run over Skeleton Boys fairly easily, and Marauders do a decent job. They're just very fast, effective, and nice and cheap and cheerful. So just behind them, just to add a little bit more added punch and to really chew through that Tomb King infantry, and just in case they brought any more elite troops, we do in fact have the Forsaken chevroned up to double silver chevron. So these guys are seeming to get a lot more use recently. I've been kind of inspired by a lot of my live streams where a lot more people are bringing Forsaken, so I thought I'd give them a go and see how they fare in this matchup. Now, over on the right-hand flank, we have my favourite pick of this entire army. We have the Swords of Chaos, a very small unit of 18 hard-hitting cavalry. We can look at their stats right here. The Swords of Chaos are the kind of guys who roll dirty with Archaon, and as you can see, I do have him myself. So I would like to say I chose these guys for a very tactical reason, that they've been buffed in the latest patch and all of this, which they did get buffed a few patches ago. They do in fact give Guardian, which is very nice when running them with Heroes and Lords, and I have Apocalyptic Charge. But the main reason I took them is because they look awesome, and it's very thematic having them with my Lord. So if you go check out the man, myth, the legend himself, Archaon the Ever-Chosen right here. I actually really like Archaon. I know a lot of people find more utility in the Big Pigeon and Codec and so forth, but he is so incredibly hard hitting, and hopefully he'll be able to hit hard today. So let's see what spells and items I brought. We of course have gone for the Slayer of Kings, which just turns him into an absolute beast, and it lasts 39 seconds, which is a pretty decent time. He does of course have Stand Your Die and Foe Seeker as well, but the real big spells here are Burning Head. That's just to mulch through that infantry. The opponent's gone very heavy with Skeleton Warriors. This will just tear them apart in a matter of seconds. We also have the Flaming Sword of Ruin, just to add a little bit more buff to ourselves if we do come up against any constructs and so forth, and a nice, cheap and cheerful Fireball, which I think is always a fairly good pick. So in the front we have 3 units of the Marauder Horsemasters for a bit of early skirmish, also very good at taking down constructs and looking to get a little bit of early poking. And in distances in both corners of the map we have in fact gone for 2 packs of Chaos Warhounds, one with poison, and gone for 2 packs on the other side as well. Now, for my opponent's army, let's have a little look and see what he's brought. In the very back line, he has 3 units of Skeleton Spearmen, just there to hold me back. And in the front line, he has 2 units of Skeleton Warriors, so very light in the infantry fight. These guys are, of course, very low tier infantry, but they're there just to hold the line and allow the rest of his army to really do the damage. Let's have a look and see what that's going to be. We have some Skeleton Archers, just cheap fire there. We also have the Chosen of the Gods, Regiment Round Ushopti, specialising in dealing with infantry, as their shot kind of separates in the air and has a load of burst damage. Very powerful unit, one of my most hated ones to face. And also a standard unit of Ushopti Great Bows as well to help deal with larger threats, and they still do decent work against elite infantry and so forth. So protecting this kind of very like light infantry force here, we do have a couple units of Skeleton Horsemen. We have one unit of Nekakar Horsemen there. They're just going to be pushing forwards, trying to harass, protect this range core as much as possible. Also assisting in that is going to be 2 Tomb Scorpions, so not 1 but 2 of the mighty beasts, and their model is incredibly cool. They're very powerful, and their attack animations actually really help them in battle. They kind of dig under the ground, pop up, and do all sorts of nastiness. Now let's see what he has for a leadership core. He has 2 Tomb Princes as well. This is very, very scary for my Archaon. These guys are anti-large, and of course I'm in a horse. They're armor piercing, melee experts, all that good stuff, very good stats. Looks like one of them also has brought some magic items. So we have Blade of Setep, minus 30 armor, and 22 physical resistance. That's pretty damn powerful, and the Curse as well, which can rampage everyone whilst lowering their melee attack, but of course it's only activated when he is below 50% hit points. So very deadly little duo there. And who is the Lord they're going to be protecting? And he does in fact have Arkan the Black on his chariot, so we've seen a ton of section recently, so it's nice to see one of the different bone guys get a little go. So he has brought the Tomb Blade of Arkham, Staff of Nagash, all his good stuff by the looks of it, including Fate of Buna and a Spirit Leech. So let's get this battle underway and see how it goes. So as we said earlier, you can see straight away there's going to be some early skirmishing, and as I do just swing about, I'm going to do a little bit of poke against some Skeleton Horsemen, but as you can see, one volley from the Chosen of the Gods really does start to obliterate these guys' health, even though a lot of those shots seem to go over there. quite a bit of damage done just from one volley, and so I quickly turn tails and bomb it out of there as fast as possible. We're going to be advancing with all our infantry forces, trying to close the distance as fast as possible. We have no range ourselves. We really want to try and ensnare the opponent, circle him with those hounds, and pick him apart as well as possible. And the best way to do that, get on top of him with all these marauders and start mulching through, and try and force some of these archer units back so my hounds can jump on them. Looks like we might have an early engagement over the side here, as Archon is leading a force of skeleton horsemen to sally out and fend off some marauder horsemasters. I do tempt fate a little bit of Archon, who has just been spirit leeches. I put forward thinking maybe I'll get a sneaky charge on Archon, but I do see the two Tomb Princes coming over. I'd decide to fall back and wait for assistance from the Swords of Chaos over here. So Marauders doing a little bit of damage, but in return, one unit getting pretty heavily obliterated. And in retaliation, I'm moving those Chaos Warhounds as fast as possible. Now, some really nice play here by my opponent. Just getting some free damage with Archon on this front line where he can. He knows when it hits, it's going to hit hard, so you might as well get that damage where you can. I don't really have anything over here to retaliate with. He also summons some Skeleton Warriors to try and slow me down. So you'll see this quite often from players. They will summon right in front of you. So what I'm going to do is just force my way through them, pretty much trying to ignore them as much as possible. So I'm just going to slow right down now and try and explain what I'm going to do a little bit. So with the hounds in the background, I'm sure my opponent has noticed them. He's brought a Tomb Scorpion back, so I'm dragging resources away from that front line, making it very thin. And the best thing about that, obviously, he now just has 2 units of Skeleton Warriors guarding this front line with these tasty Ushopti in the middle. So what I'm going to be doing is distracting the Skeleton Warriors, slowing them down with Chaos Marauders who will be able to beat them, and force moving my Forsaken, like getting caught up here, but I'm just spam clicking right here, forcing these guys through to put pressure onto those Ushopti, force them back, and try and hop on them with the Warhounds. Over on the right-hand flank, really nice play by my opponent, bringing those Tomb Princes out just to stop my Marauder Horsemasters who were trying to get into that back line and shut down those Skeleton Archers. So, yeah, let's see how this goes. We've also pulled Archon back and the Swords of Chaos for now to get away from that Ushopti fire, but we're now going to be bringing them back to the main fight to really do some extra damage. So it looks like in the background the Hounds did charge in on some Nekakar Horsemen, but as soon as that Tomb Scorpion comes, they're going to be backing off, and the Forsaken and a unit of Marauders have managed to push through this fairly thin front line and start chasing down those Ushopti. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be able to kill them, we're just starting to chase them off. However, we are forcing them to not fire. As long as they're moving, they're not doing damage, and I can move in my big hitters. So we have noticed this Tomb Scorpion rather overextended, trying to protect this unit of Skeleton Warriors. So Archaon's going to come sprinting over, leading the Swords of Chaos as they bound and leap and reeve forward, trying to decimate this Tomb Scorpion. And as you can see, Archon, when he's got all his buffs up, I don't think we've even put all of them on. There we go, Slayer of Kings is now popped, plus Flaming Sword of Ruin. He just deletes this Tomb Scorpion in a matter of seconds, and that's a really nice pick for our forces right there. Now the rest of the battlefield, it looks like my Chaos Warhounds, really nice backline protection by my opponent. He's managed to fend them off for now, but once again, we're going to be hopping onto the back of them here, forcing him to drag these Princes and Archon into the back lines to fend off, pretty cheap and cheerful Chaos Warhounds, and that's given me time to mulch through this front line. We can see we've won this centre pocket, and all these forces are now going to start pushing through. Over on the left-hand flank, we do get a nice rear charge with some poison Chaos Warhounds into these back of these Spearmen, just to help these Chaos Marauders win a little bit faster. And it looks like Archon is on the hunt for Tomb Scorpions once again, finds the other one slightly isolated, and is doing some really serious damage to him. My opponent, realising what happened last time, though, is trying to escape as quick as possible with him, down to about half health. Now in the back, he does summon a unit of Ushopti to shut down these Chaos Warhounds who were munching on some Skeleton Horsemen. So we're going to be pulling those guys back, trying to rescue as many as we can. This unit will probably rally. We have another unit chasing both units of Ushopti, getting some great value, but I feel like their time is nigh, with 2 Tomb Princes and Archon the Black coming here to shut them down once and for all and try and get those Ushopti back firing. So it looks like the Tomb Scorpion has kind of found a little bit of a home. It's pushed all the way through, munching on some Chaos Marauders, and it's going to be swooping across to this battle as well, trying to help out some beleaguered Skeleton Warriors. So we are going to be bringing Archon back in a second to try and deal with him, but at the moment we're just trying to munch through some Skeleton Spearmen and break this line as much as possible. Once all the chaff is cleared out, he has nothing then to protect these Ushopti. The kind of key here is doing that as quick as possible, so we still have a lot of troops to chase them with. Obviously, if we get decimated too much, then we're in some serious trouble. Chaos Warhounds were thinking of coming in for a bit of a charge, but looks like they're going to wrap around and start attacking the Nekakar Horsemen. 2-on-1, they should be able to win fairly comfortably here. We've got the poison coming in as well, lowering those Nekakar Horsemen's stats, and they should be getting munched on. So that Tomb Scorpion is doing some serious damage. My opponent, really nice play, managing to get him out of a dangerous situation, loop him back here, and get some really good value up against some Chaos Marauders. So Warhound's going to go over into the distance just to threaten my opponent again, try and stay in his mind, whilst Chaos Marauders, the Swords of Chaos, and Archaon are going to pop back to deal with this Tomb Scorpion. Now, I have had Blade of Setep popped on the Swords of Chaos, and they start getting absolutely nuked by those Ushopti. Huge damage being done on them. See the Tomb Scorpion trying to escape a little bit, but Archaon is having none of it. He's coming to avenge his fallen bodyguards, who are starting to go down quite quick now, and he's doing some serious damage to this Tomb Scorpion, straight away getting those rear attacks in, and you see how quickly its health drops. I mean, the Sword of Chaos as well, giving him that Guardian, just in case the Tomb Scorpion fancies turn around and fight him. Looks like it is going to get in one blow before it dies, but down it goes. And for the rest of the battlefield, once again, my opponent bringing Archaon in to try and get some free damage on Chaos Marauders. Really nice play. Might as well get that free damage where you can. But whilst he's left the Ushopti, the Chaos Warhound's constantly trying to get into the back there, and these princes are being used really defensively, trying to protect this investment, as they still have a decent amount of ammunition left. Archaon the Black coming in, but we're going to be trying to flee, I hope. Oh, there we go, we're starting to flee. Looks like Tomb Prince might get in there and get one or two of the poor hounds trapped up a little bit and probably slain. In fact, that looks like it was enough to break one of the units of Chaos Warhounds. Not the best leadership on those guys, but they got a lot of health, so I'm sure they'll be coming back. So we contemplated going for a charge in against the Ushopti with Archaon and the Swords of Chaos, but with both the Princes and Archaon here, we do decide to fall back. My opponent looks like he's casting a spell on the Swords of Chaos, probably. Oh, there's a Fated unit. Okay, I was expecting a Spirit Leech there, which is quite good against small unit caps. So the rest of the forces now is just a mass of Marauders and Forsaken. Slowly going to be moving up to try and shut down these Ushopti as quick as possible, as my opponent just does a little bit of cycle charging, trying to do his damage before I inevitably catch up with him, as I've got quite a few fast units in this army. Chaos Warhounds once again just baiting out the princes, falling back, constantly poking and keeping these guys on the move, stopping them from shooting as the rest of the army does start to advance and move up. Archaon getting a little bit close here to these princes and Archaon the Black, so I keep on lapping him back every time these guys come near, and as soon as they come over to deal with Archaon, I start threatening again with the hound, so he pulls back, and this time we've caught him. So Archaon the Black overextends without his two bodyguards, and Archaon is going to hunt him down. Stand or Die, Flaming Sword of Ruin, both popped on, doing that extra damage there, and we're going to get some nice rear attacks on Archaon the Black here, who is fleeing for his life at this point. It looks like we haven't popped the sword buff yet, but it doesn't look like we need to. Archaon, though, a real clutch play, summoning some skeleton warriors and blocking off Archaon the Black from his target, and he tries to escape there, going away into the distance, popping all his buffs as well. But in the meantime, we've managed to get the hounds on top of the Ushopti, whilst in the kind of big kerfuffle and distraction, and we do a 360 no-scope with the fireball, smacking into Archaon, getting down to 126 health. We're going to be popping on with him with the hounds now, just trying to shut him down. 82 health, 71 health. He is definitely a dead bone boy. And unfortunately for him, down he goes to meager hounds, but it may be, the burning fire damage from Archaon is what we're saying. Finished him off. And the Chosen are now starting to waver as well. We have hounds on them, princes trying their best, and our main forces, we're just going to finish off this unit here, trying to force that balance of power heavily into our favour so we don't have to fight this full battle. We can just finish them off where we can. With their leadership gone, hopefully they will start to crumble and disappear. Looks like our hounds have been forced off. They are fleeing a little bit from these very scary Tomb Princes. Don't blame them too much. But who is that in the distance? We have the Swords of Chaos rallying back to Archaon. Looks like they've run past some hounds who are full-on fleeing. These guys barely staying on leadership-wise, and we have 5 models left, but they are chasing all the way back, trying to get into the action. So again, a little bit of cheeky throw-in axes coming in by the Marauder Horsemasters. Archaon hiding out amongst his troops, really doesn't want to get sniped out at this point. Perhaps if my opponent manages to kill him, those Tomb Princes will be too much for me to swarm, and they're breaking me off by causing fear and forcing my people to flee. So we'll be very conservative at the moment with Archaon. He does have Blade of Setep on him, so we don't want to get him in the action yet. Just force him forward with all our Marauders, hunt down these Ushopti, and keep them running for the hills. And this whole time we're getting little bits of poke damage, nothing much. We only have a few Marauder Horsemasters here, but they are getting some decent damage, breaking the leadership of these Chosen of the Gods and starting to make them crumble. Looks like some Forsaken have launched themselves ahead as well, starting to pull down these Chosen of the Gods. Hounds getting in there as well, doing that decent poison damage. My opponent does come in for the snipe, but we're simply going to fall back with Archaon, drop a Flaming Sword of Ruin for that extra damage, and start going to town on these Tomb Princes, really trying to wail on them as much as possible. It looks like we're also sending in a unit of Marauder Horsemasters to shut down those Chosen of the Gods and really finish them off. So Arcan is getting a little bit toe-to-toe with people. He goes in for a little bit of swoop, but gets rear charged by another Tomb Prince. So once again, we're simply going to be pulling for our own troops and falling back for lapping back round and charging in again, doing a nice bit of cycle charging. And the Swords of Chaos, after making that super long trip from all the way over the other side of the map, are going to be doing a nice charge in on top of the Shopti Great Bows, avenging themselves for the amount of damage and carnage these guys caused to them. And they're going to be charging in, flaming hooves and all, wreaking havoc upon these poor Ushopti who instantly start to break. Now, the buff has been popped by the Tomb Prince, learning my melee attack and pitting all my people into Rampage, but at this point, Archaon's pretty much finished off one of the Tomb Princes, and the balance of power swings heavily in my favour. The last one does crumble amongst hordes of slavering Chaos Marauders, Forsaken, and of course the ever-chosen himself for a Pyrrhic victory there, up against a very talented opponent. So let's go to the end stats and have a little look-see. So overall, super well played to my opponent. Really nice build. Quite risky with the small amount of infantry, but all the kind of the big single entities with the Tomb Scorpions and the Shopti trying to do that big powerhouse damage. That is also the way I quite like playing Tomb Kings. I'm not the best Tomb King player by any means, but that is the way I enjoy it as well. Copying it to Shopti, then the big constructs, which are just super fun. Overall for my build, I actually really like this build up against Tomb Kings. I feel like Halberds are also very good in this matchup. There's Chaos Warriors with Halberds because they tear through pretty much all of the Tomb King's infantry and are extra good against the constructs compared to just basic Marauders. But Forsaken are pretty fun, and they chewed through that front line so quickly that I could put mass pressure on that back line. Really pleased with the Hounds as well. Not massive kills on any of them, but just that constant pressure forcing your opponent to drag resources from their front line to their back line to defend it. Stressing out their micro can really help you just then distract them and mulch through that front line. And once they've only got, 1 or 2 units left, we finished off the big hitters like the Tomb Scorpions by sniping them out because they got overextended and they had no support because the rest of the support was, at the back dealing with that harass. So overall, really pleased with this army in general. I think this is a matchup where Archaon is very, very good. Kurlek's also a beast, but he can get sniped out by your Shopti far easier. The Big Chicken is also very good in this matchup, but can struggle to deal with the single entities like the Tomb Scorpion, whereas Archaon is just such a good duelist, and that fire damage is really good coming up against the Tomb King. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Very well played, Tikabato. Hopefully I will face you on ladder again sometime soon. So if you did enjoy, please do give a big old thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, and I do have a Patreon down in the description below. So until next time, guys, peace, and stay awesome.